Welcome to another episode of Plead Your Case. We start this episode off with who was the greatest athlete at the moment. We'll get into that more later, and then we're going to talk about another pick'em segment. Luke Andruscik is going to be back after his win last week against Meg Berry. Some interesting stuff, and then we wrap it up with a new start, bench, cut system. You know what you do. It's time to sit back and relax. It's time to plead your case.
Hey there, sports fans. You're watching another episode of Waynesburg University Community Television's only national sports debate show, Plead Your Case. Whether you're a diehard fan or a casual observer, get ready to join us every week as we dive deep into current pressing sports topics. Our panelists dissect every angle, every scenario, and every statistic to influence their fiery takes.
What has he done without Tom Brady?
And spirited arguments.
No, listen, Bowtie. Have you ever played Foursquare? No, you were too old to play Foursquare.
There will be no argument unexplored, and every take will be under review.
After reviewing the play...
Here in the Waynesburg University Communication Department, we believe in heated debates with a touch of friendly competition, which is why we also have a fresh 5 and 5 mini segment that you won't want to miss.
I don't think a pitcher is breaking Cy Young's wins record of 511.
You Google America's team and what do you get? You get the...
So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious sports chat. It is time to plead your case.
Welcome back into Plead Your Case. We're going to start this episode off with a very interesting question. Who is the greatest athlete at the moment? We have seen so many greats throughout our lives. It brings the question to us, who is the greatest athlete that we have seen so far in 2024? Now, guys, I want you to introduce my panel, Michael McKenzie, Ron Brown. Ron, you got a big old smile on your face. Let's start with you on the end.
I'm ready. I don't think it's really not too much of a question.
It ain't a question?
You got to go with that man from Akron, that bad man from Akron, Ohio. LeBron Raymond James. I mean, the man was an all-state. When you're talking about athlete, let's make it a clarification. We're talking about athletic ability. We're talking about athletic ability. We're not talking about just in their sport or impact or anything. We're just talking about athletic ability. When have you ever seen a man 6'8", 270 pounds, can run like the wind, jump out the gym? You don't see 270-pound guys moving like that. And on top of it, the man was also an all-state football player in high school, played receiver, ran a 4.6. He was being recruited by Ohio State, Florida State, Notre Dame, all these Power 5 schools that we know of. And he was described in the Akron Beacon as being, when he was in high school, he was described as the Akron Beacon as being a bigger, slower version of Randy Moss. So, I mean.
All right, Ron.
Slower?
Mike,
Randy Moss ran a 4.2.
He gave you a whole lot of info on why he thinks LeBron is the greatest athlete. Who is your
he did. He gave a lot of good points from 20 years ago. And the question is right now. The guy is pushing 40. Yes, in his prime. He was one of the best athletes you'll ever see.
He still is. At 40 years old,
correct.
He still is.
He's one of them. He's
Ron,
not
calm
the
down.
best.
At 40 years old.
No need to point fingers.
The only answer I will accept is Shohei Ohtani. Look at what he's doing. He is one of the top 10 pitchers in all of baseball when he's pitching. He is the best hitter in all of baseball right now. This year, hitting .301. He's got 53 homers, 55 stolen bases. Nobody's ever done that in baseball history. A 1,000 OPS. He's driven over 120 runs.
Could he go play another sport, though, and actually be good at it?
My argument is pitching and hitting. Yes, they're both baseball, but they're two completely different things.
But
he essentially does play
Could he
two
go play?
different
The
sports.
question was about athletic ability. Could he go play another sport? Could he go play football and actually be good at it?
It doesn't matter if he can go play football or go play basketball.
This is about athletic ability.
And you're looking at Shohei Ohtani.
I don't think he's the best athlete in baseball.
He's not the best athlete in baseball.
That's
one of the most outlandish things I've ever heard.
As far as athletic ability,
that's one of the most outlandish things I've ever heard.
I think Aaron Judge is a better athlete as far as athletic ability. I think Aaron Judge is a better athlete.
Does Aaron Judge have a 3.01 career ERA? No, he does not.
Doesn't.
That's why. So he's not a better athlete.
Aaron Judge also.
Okay,
Aaron Judge has. Where's Aaron Judge?
Settle down. Let's get to our next point, guys. I've enjoyed my popcorn for this segment. All right, we need to settle down. Now we look at this. We look at this professional league that these guys are in, MLB, NBA, right? You know, the MLB, let's talk about Shohei. There's some guys up there who are pretty elite as well. Like you mentioned, Aaron Judge is up there. But also in the NBA, you got some guys up there like Joker and some other ones. So when it comes to competing on who is the best, it seems like who has more closer than the other.
But
you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's about athletic. We're talking about athletic ability. Just off of straight, pure athleticism. There's other guys in baseball.
Name somebody that has played two aspects, completely different aspects of the game. So when talking about football, name a corner, wide receiver, a guy who's played corner and wide receiver who has dominated at the level Shohei has. Deion Sanders didn't dominate like Shohei
because
has.
Most guys
Nobody
don't
has
play
dominated
both
like
sides of the
Shohei
ball
has.
because you're getting hit 40 times a game. So how you expect somebody? He's not even getting touched in baseball. So how can you expect somebody to go
So
play
we're determining
both sides
athletic
of the ball?
ability on the endurance it takes to get hit by somebody. Is that the argument here?
No,
that's
we're
a
talking about
terrible
athletic
argument.
ability.
And
I
yet
don't think Shohei can go play football or go play basketball.
Shohei Ohtani turns around 100-mile-an-hour pitches consistently, hits them 450 feet, and then goes back
we're
on the
talking
mound,
about-
throws
we're
it
talking about
100,
athletic
strike.
ability.
You're right, we're talking about athletic ability. He does two completely different things at the highest level in the entire world. In the entire world. The World Baseball Classic
LeBron
2
James
years ago.
Can go play, could have made the NFL if he wanted
My
to.
argument is that pitching and hitting are essentially two different sports. They're two completely different things. Yes, they're in the same sport, but
Well, you
what
forget
in hitting?
pitchers used to bat up until a few years
You're right,
ago.
they did, and they hit 100 if they were lucky.
Because they didn't bat every day.
Because they went up there.
All right,
Gentlemen,
settle down.
That was the swing.
We're getting loud on the panel today. We are really debating today. Now, Mike, I have a direct question for you, my friend. You know, it seems that Shohei's really in kind of his prime right now. And we look back at LeBron's prime. You know, it's kind of seems like he's fallen out of his prime a little bit. Do you think that Shohei's prime will go even longer than LeBron's prime in that? And you know, I know they're two different sports, but in that standard, do you think that Shohei's prime will be able to reach longer than LeBron's?
No, because I'll give LeBron credit where it's due. His longevity will not be matched. At least I don't think it'll be matched in our lifetimes. What? He's played 20 years, and he's been a top 10 NBA player that entire time. No, he hasn't been the best player in the NBA for 20 consecutive years, but he's been in the top 10. He's been in that conversation. He's been in that conversation for 20 years. I'll give him credit, but he's not in his prime. The question is right now, who is the best athlete? Nobody is doing in their respective sport anything comparable to what Shohei Ohtani is doing in his sport. I don't care if LeBron can go and play football and be decent, or he could have gone and played football
Nobody's ever scored
10 years ago.
Nobody's ever scored 40,000 points in a
Nobody's
career.
ever hit a 50-50 season. Nobody has a 3.01
Nobody's
career
ever
ERA
led-
Mike,
and
let me
a
ask you
280
this.
batting average with 224 career home runs.
Name me somebody else that's top 5
Hold on.
in
I need
assists
to get this
and
out of Mike
points
first.
in
Hold on,
NBA.
Ron. So you think that Shohei? Do you think he's going to continue to be at this level for how long? Do you think he'll be?
I would say
Do you
at
think
least
it'll
5
pass
years.
LeBron's?
I don't think he will have a longer career than LeBron James. But the question is right now, LeBron is pushing 40. He is not the athlete he once was. Cool.
He still is.
No, he's not.
Yes,
he's not the same guy he was when he was 22 years old. He's not the same guy he was when he was 28 years old.
He's still
He's still
better
good
athlete than a lot of the guys right now.
Well, your argument, you should be saying he's a better athlete than everybody, because your argument is he's the best athlete in all of sports. He's not. It's Shohei Ohtani.
Why do you think that is, Ron? Why do you think he still is at the level that he is?
Because when has he slowed down? The man has not slowed down over playing 21 years. The man has not slowed down. He's barely been injured. He's still playing at a high, consistent level every day. Every night in, night out, he's still playing at a high level. You give him a better team around him, like.
I could argue he's not the best player on his team right now. I'm not going to lie.
Who's better than him?
Anthony Davis.
Bull.
I'd say Anthony Davis has a legit argument
Anthony
to be
Davis
a better player than LeBron James
plays-
at the moment we sit right now.
He plays every other day. He chooses when to play hard.
You act like LeBron's never missed a game in his life.
He has. I'm not saying he hasn't, but he hasn't been like to the point to where he's had like crazy injuries. Like, you know, at this point in his career, think about Kobe at this point in his career. Kobe was tearing Achilles. He was tearing his shoulders. He was missing seasons.
I'm not arguing that LeBron's longevity is not the great. His longevity, how long he's been at the level that he's at, sure, that's the best. But he's not at the same level. He, in his prime, he was up here. Right now, he's about here. Shohei Ohtani is in his prime right now. He is doing two completely different things. The question is right now.
Ability.
Right now. It's right now as well. You're forgetting right now.
All right.
You're forgetting right now.
The question was about athletic ability.
Time out.
Right now.
We need to calm down. We need to calm down a little bit. We need to have
right
some
now.
civil.
We're gentlemen here.
Ron,
right now.
Ron, enough. I'm going to give you your shtick. Listen to me, Ron. I'm going to give you your shtick on what you think. I'm going to give you your time, and you're going to be quiet, Michael, okay? All right? And I'm going to give you your time to be able to describe fully why you think, and kind of like your final thoughts as we wrap up our first segment. Ron, you go first.
The question was about athletic ability. We weren't talking about, I think Shohei's the best player in Major League Baseball, but he's not the best athlete in Major League Baseball. Athlete is like a guy that pretty much can go play anything. Aaron Judge could have probably made the NFL or been really good at in college, and he was a Power 5 recruit in high school at 6'7", 280 pounds. So I think Shohei, he's a great baseball player, but as far as athletic ability, he could not have went and made a living in football, basketball. I mean, because I wouldn't say he's pretty fast, but I mean, is he the fastest player in Major League Baseball? So could he run track? I think my thing.
Final thought right here.
When I think of like athlete, I think of somebody like Dave Winfield, who the only guy to get drafted in 4 different sports: NFL, MLB, NBA, and ABA. I think of somebody like that. I think about Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders. Okay. Guys like that prove themselves in other sports.
Time's up.
Okay.
Mike, your turn as you sat
Athletic
here in
ability is
agony.
not boiled down to can you go and play 2 or 3 different sports at the professional level. You look at Shohei Ohtani, the dude came from Japan. That is a baseball factory. They
play basketball over there.
Yeah, how many players in there are from Japan, though? More than half of the Japanese basketball league are players from overseas. They're not from Japan. The Japan baseball leagues, they breed baseball players in that country, and Shohei Ohtani is the peak of that. I agree. Guys like Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, the guys that play 2 different sports, those are when you think of athletes. Shohei Ohtani, what he does pitching and what he does hitting, I consider that essentially playing 2 different sports. The guy has a 3.01 career ERA, 608 strikeouts. For comparison, Clayton Kershaw in his first 482 innings pitched, which is the amount of innings Shohei Ohtani has pitched in his career. Kershaw had a 3.17 ERA, 497 strikeouts. So Shohei Ohtani, in his first 482 innings pitched, was better than the guy who was probably the best pitcher of our generation in the 2010s. You look at his numbers compared to Bryce Harper, hitting-wise. He's got a better batting average, 280 batting average for Shohei compared to 279 for Bryce Harper. He's got 224 home runs. Bryce Harper had 184 home runs at this point in his career, and he's got an OPS 42 points higher. Yes, athletic ability is not boiled down to statistics, but when you look at what Shohei Ohtani does, 2 completely different things in the sport of baseball. Just because he can't go and play basketball or football on a whim like LeBron James could 20 years ago, doesn't mean he's not the best athlete in all of sports right now. What he is doing is unparalleled.
Time's up. Guys, I think we had a great discussion here today. I hope it made you ponder a little bit, made you think, do I agree with Ron? Do I agree with Michael? But regardless, let's take a little bit of a break as we send it to break. We're going to have our NFL our mini pick'em segment right up here on Plead Your Case. Don't go anywhere. This is so spice.
Cornucopia.
Try instead of train. show.
To plead your case, I'm Seth Adams, and I'll still be your host for this segment, the NFL Pick'em mini segment. Now, guys, we have Luke Andruscik returning in his C.J. Stroud jersey, and Benicio DeFalco, his first time in his C.J. Stroud jersey. You could say it's a C.J. Stroud matchup. But you know what's also related to the Texans? The Colts. Steelers-Colts, Benicio. Who do you got for the first game?
So I'm going to take the Steelers in this one. Anthony Richardson is a turnover machine. He has 6 interceptions through 3 games. His Steelers defense is legit. First time, I think, in our lifetime we're seeing a real secondary from this defense, and I think Fields is going to progress game by game. Give me the Steelers in this one, 24-17.
Luke?
I'm going to have to agree with you there, Benny, as much as I hate to do it. Steelers have given up the least amount of points in the NFL through week 3. They have 4 defensive interceptions, and Richardson, as Benny said, has thrown 6 so far this season. Jonathan Taylor is going to be the bright spot for the Colts in this game, even though I think it's going to be hard for him to start get his ground game going just because of how good the Steelers defense is. But I still don't think the Steelers offense is very good. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. 16-7, Steelers win.
All right. Good stuff, guys. Next one, Eagles versus Buccaneers. Luke, you start with this one.
This is going to be a good game. All these games that were picked this week are very good games. But I have the Eagles in this game, 27-23. Saquon Barkley leads the NFL in rushing yards currently with 351. The Eagles have the second best overall defense, 6th best passing, 3rd best rushing. And the Buccaneers defense, not very good, 27th overall in the league. They had a brutal loss to Denver last week. I got the Eagles, 27-23.
I'm going to take the Buccaneers in this one. Both 2-1 teams. With the chance of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith being out, this could be a game where Jalen Hurts struggles. But like you said, I'm expecting a big day from Saquon Barkley. Buccaneers got embarrassed versus the Broncos last week. I like what I've seen from Baker Mayfield this year. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-24.
Now, just a reminder, all the first 4 games we're going to discuss are worth 1 point. The final game is the game of the week, so that'll be worth 2 points, but we'll get more into that later. But let's jump right into the next game. We got Saints versus Falcons. Now, we're going to start this game. The Saints are coming off a rough week against the Eagles. The Falcons also coming off a rough game against the Chiefs. Benny, who you got?
So we saw the Saints. They started off a little red hot, kind of being the surpriser of the NFL so far. But I like the Falcons in this one, 24-17. I liked what I've seen from Kirk Cousins. He's going to keep the Falcons in every game this year. And they were very close to beating the Chiefs. They beat the Eagles. These are 2 proven teams in the NFL. I like the Falcons in this one.
Luke?
I'm going with the Saints in this game, Benny. I'm opposed to you again. Derek Carr has been on fire. Their offense has been on fire, except for last week. That's another reason why I should have said I'm taking the Eagles. The Saints put up 40-plus in the past 2 weeks, and they held the Saints to only 12 last week. They have the 2nd most points scored in the league, and they have led up the 5th least amount of points, so their defense has also been stellar. The Falcons have been pretty average so far. I still think they're good. I still think it's going to be a tight race in the NFC South, but I have the Saints putting up big numbers again, 34-20.
Okay, and let's go to the Browns fan first on this one with the C.J. Stroud jersey on. Browns versus Raiders at 425. Who you got?
I think this is my time to rant. Kevin Stefanski, this is a positive. Kevin Stefanski is 21-8 following a loss in his career with the Browns. They had a bad loss to the Giants last week. I'm not going to deny that. We need to get more pressure on the quarterback. Gardner Minshew tore us up last year in the Colts game. Our play calling has been terrible. We have the 31st offense in the league. But our defense has been good. Not that great. I think the Raiders are going to target Brock Bowers more. Embarrassing loss last week to the Panthers. So I'm going to have the Browns going over 23-10.
Benny?
I'm going to agree with you here. Both teams coming off embarrassing losses. Obviously the Raiders losing to what looked like the worst team in the league, the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to take the Browns in this one, bouncing back. Malik Neighbors had a day, but I'm still very confident in this Browns defense. I think they're one of the best in the league. I like the Browns in this one. Low-scoring game, 17-10.
Here we go. The game of the week. Ravens versus Bills, Sunday Night Football. Benny, since you are the host attacking Luke for this one, I'll let you take the reins on this.
I like the Bills here straight up. I said it earlier in the year, I think Josh Allen could be the MVP this year. I think he is going to take those steps to get there. The Bills look like the best team in the league. I'm not confident in Lamar Jackson in big games. It's been proven throughout his whole career. Give me the Bills in this one. I like them 35-28.
Luke?
Josh Allen has been the best quarterback this year. Patrick Mahomes is by far and away the best quarterback in the league, but Josh Allen this year has been the best so far. He has 7 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. They're the number 1 scoring offense in the league, and they have the 7th best defense in the league. But they've had weak competition, I think, so far. But the Ravens, I don't have confidence in the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, like Benny said, has not been good in big games. But I do think that the Ravens are going to pull this game out. I had to throw a little switch on you there. I think it's going to be a very close game, 31-27, Ravens over Bills. I don't think the Bills keep up their win streak.
Well, gentlemen, the scores are set, the games are picked, and good luck to both of you. Hopefully that things turn your way this week. That's going to do it for this segment. Don't go anywhere. We got more action right here on PYC.
Welcome to the Eberly Library, where you can find out everything about anything on campus. Through the double doors, you'll enter a world of knowledge and academic resources. These include the Knox Learning Center, where the Disability Services Office and testing centers are located, and the Writing Center, where students can work directly with our tutors in order to hone their essay skills and get easy A's. And now, to the print collection, which houses over 75,000 books spanning across all 3 of our floors. And if you're looking for truly a peaceful place to read, we also have the Stover Center for Constitutional Studies, with various nooks and crannies for students to hide away in with a good book. And if you need us to print out something for your next class, head on to the 3rd floor at the Eberly Library.
Welcome back into Plead Your Case. For this segment, we're going to be going into a start, bench, cut type of deal with the NFL and take a look at some players from 4 different positions, the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end, and see who would we start, bench, and cut out of 3 players, kind of like fantasy football, but our own way of doing it. Now, I still have my panel with me, Michael McKenzie and Ron Brown. Now, let's start with the quarterback position. Let's look at the guys that we got. We got Geno Smith, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott. Dak coming off of a pretty huge game against Baltimore, and then we look at the other guys who have averaged around 15 around so points. But Mike, we'll start with you. Who are you gonna start, bench, and cut?
Okay, I've had a chance to breathe here, so so we're good. New segment, chance to breathe. Quarterback, I'm going to start Dak Prescott. If the Cowboys are leading in a game, it's probably because Dak Prescott's been playing really well, because that's pretty much their offense. It's Dak throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb or Brandon Cooks. If they're down in a game, it means they're going to throw the ball, and throw the ball some more, like we saw this past week against Baltimore, where he put up nearly 30 points. He's going to be your good fantasy quarterback, especially out of this crop of guys that are mainly going to throw the ball. They're not running it a lot, picking up those rushing yard points, those rushing touchdown points. So when you look at that, I think Dak's the guy to start. I'm going to put Brock Purdy on the bench for the sole fact that he's on the San Francisco 49ers. You got so much more around him, and you saw he threw 3 touchdown passes to Juwan Jennings. So I'm going to bench, I should say, Brock Purdy, because he'll put up stats in San Francisco's offense regardless. I'm going to cut Geno Smith because he's not a given week by week whether he's going to put up a good performance or not. So sorry, Geno, you're going to have to go.
I disagree because I switch Purdy and Prescott because after seeing what Aaron Rodgers did to that New England Patriots defense, was it last Thursday? After seeing what they did to them, I think I might go with Purdy. But with the Giants and Prescott, I think the Giants kind of did like a decent job being able to contain Watson. He didn't throw for crazy numbers, but I think I'm going to go with Purdy just because, and then last week seeing what Purdy did, 292 and 3 touchdowns, I think Purdy, I'd definitely start Purdy, bench Prescott, and automatically, we can agree on this, cut Geno because he's not going to light up the stat sheet, and especially against the Detroit Lions defense, he's not going to do very good. But I think, you got to go with it. Yeah.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here. All right, guys, let's move on to our next position, which is the running back position. We're going to look at our guys, Tony Pollard, Najee Harris, and DeAndre Swift. Now, Pollard put up 18.4 at Chicago, 15 against the Jets, but only 6 against Miami. Najee, 9 against Atlanta, 8 against Denver, 13.6 against the Chargers. Swift, 5 against Tennessee, 8 against Houston, 6 against Indianapolis. Ron, we'll start with you on this one. Who you starting, who you benching, and who you cutting?
This is really a hard choice because they're all like middle of the road right now.
I agree with that, yeah.
Najee, and looking at Najee against the Colts the last 2 times they've played. He had 33 yards and 35 yards and has yet to see the end zone yet. But I think, this is a hard choice on, who to start. That's bad. That's our selection. If you have these 3 running backs on your team must suck because
I've got 2 of them.
I have 2.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I have Swift on mine.
Najee's usually hit or miss.
I have
but
Swift and Pollard.
Against the Colts, he, like I said, he struggled against the Colts the last 2 years. He did score a touchdown one year. But I think, to be honest with you, you might have to go with Swift right now. I think I might
Starting
go with
Swift?
Yeah, because I don't think, the other 2 is a toss-up. But like I said, if these are your 3 options at running back, you need to make trades immediately or do something because this is bad.
Get on the phones.
Yeah.
Get on the phones.
Mike?
All right, so I want to say we're talking matchups a little bit here, but my philosophy when it comes to fantasy, at least when you're looking at your team, the only position where you really need to worry about matchup is defense. Otherwise, I look at the situation that a player is in amongst their own team. So that's where I'm going with this. I'm starting Tony Pollard. He's got a couple of 15-plus point games, clear-cut number 1 running back in Tennessee, and he's got a little bit of a slice when it comes to the receiving game. That's really going to help in a full PPR league like a lot of people play in, including myself. I'm going to bench Najee. He's still going to get 15 to 20 carries a game. He's going to get a bulk of the red zone work. So I think we're going to see him get to the end zone this week against Indianapolis, but he gets a bulk of that red zone work when you get down there. So I think I'll bench Najee. I'll cut DeAndre Swift. I think he just sucks, especially when it comes to fantasy. And when's the last time we've seen a Chicago Bears running back be formidable for anybody in fantasy? Probably Matt Forte. Probably Matt
Jordan
Forte.
Howard. Jordan Howard that year.
Yeah. That wasn't a full. Was it really like a full year though?
Yeah, he had over 1,000 yards that year.
Now, Ron, I think who were you benching and who were you cutting out of that group?
I think I might have to cut Najee and
bench
Pollard.
Okay.
Because Pollard gets a little bit more touches.
You can't cut Pollard. He gets too much workload.
Yeah.
He gets more touches.
All right, cool. Let's move on to the next one where we're going to go to the wide receiver room. We're going to look at the Steelers receiver, George Pickens, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Brandon Ayuk. Kind of a pretty good matchup of 3 receivers here. Don't look at me like that, Mike. GP has 13 at Atlanta, 5 at Denver, and 10 versus the Chargers. Harrison 1 at Buffalo, 29 versus the Rams, and 17 versus Detroit. And Ayuk 5 versus the Jets, 8 versus Minnesota, and 10 versus the Rams. Mike, we start with you. Who are you going to start? Who are you going to bench? Who are you going to cut?
If you know me, you know who I'm starting. Maserati Marv. Of course I'm starting on Marvin Harrison Jr. You look at what he's going to get in terms of the workload at Arizona. He's coming off a couple of games where he's gotten 20 points. He's going to be one of the top 5 receivers in real life and in fantasy by the end of the year. There's no doubt. He's a level above these other 2 when it comes to fantasy football. So give me Marvin Harrison Jr. I'll bench Brandon Ayuk. He's in the San Francisco offense. I'll cut George Pickens because too many teams are going to focus on taking him out. But when the Steelers trade for Devontae Adams here in a few weeks, George Pickens will be the main beneficiary. So keep Pickens stashed because when the Steelers trade for Adams, just wait.
See, guys like him make us Steeler fans look bad, like me look bad.
on, man.
Because I'm a realist. We're not getting Devontae Adams, but that's neither here nor there. But Pickens, I think I have him on my fantasy team. I've so far been disappointed. I think, he's getting the touches, but it seems like every time he catches a long pass, it's a penalty coming back. And then I think after seeing last night the Bengals against the Commanders, seeing them, get points or every time they went down the field, I think Maserati Marv, I think will definitely, he might be the best one out the 3. Ayuk has been cold, so it looked like Jawan Jennings was the number 1 last week. Putting up 46 points. But I think I'll definitely go with Marv because, he had a down week last week, but the week before he definitely did play good. So I think they'll definitely get in there. And shout out to Benicio DeFalco. Marv is the GOAT. Marv is the GOAT.
Well, guys, that is going to do it for our whole Start Bench Cut segment. Stay tuned for all our content here on WCTV YouTube channel for more sports action right here on Plead Your Case. We'll see you next week.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.